Now that we have looked at several examples where we have been given a sequence and we're trying to find the general term, let's put together a list of hints that will help us with this process. Now remember, when we say we are finding the general term or the nth term, that means we're writing a formula that will generate the sequence of numbers. First, we want to see if we are either adding or subtracting to get to the next term, or perhaps multiplying or dividing. That means we want to look for linear or exponential patterns. If you have fractions and you can't see a linear or exponential pattern, then it might be helpful to analyze the numerator and denominator separately. There may be a different pattern with all the numbers that are in the numerator than the pattern with all the numbers in the denominator. In the case where you have alternating signs, you can always try -1 raised to the power of n, or you can try -1 raised to the power of n plus 1. Those will both help you get terms that alternate signs. You just have to figure out which one works to get you the first term with the sign that you want. If you're still stuck and you can't figure out the pattern, then I always say look for special patterns. What I mean by special patterns are patterns like perfect cubes or perfect squares or factorials. Remember, perfect squares would be 1 squared, 1 times 1 is 1, 2 squared, 2 times 2 is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25, and on. Perfect cubes would be 1 cubed, which is 1, 2 cubed, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, 3 cubed is 27, 4 cubed is 64, and so on. And then those special factorial numbers start with 1, and then 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 2 times 3 is 6, and 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 is 24. And next we would have 120. So again, remember this 1 was 1 factorial, 2 was 2 factorial, 6 was 3 factorial, 24 was 4 factorial, and 120 was 5 factorial. So those are some special patterns that might help. My next hint probably is the most important, and that is just don't give up. Might sound like a silly hint, but it really is true that when you're trying to write the general formula, it takes time, it takes practice, and you have to be willing to fail. Many times the formula you write the first time, it's not going to work, but it might get you closer to the actual formula for the general term. So don't give up. And then lastly, when you write an equation or a formula that you think is going to generate a sequence, always make sure to check. So check your formula and make sure that it works. And that means you want to make sure you plug in n equals 1 to check and make sure that it gives you the first term, but also plug in n equals 2 and n equals 3. Don't just check with one value, check with several values and make sure that your formula does indeed generate all of the terms of the sequence that you've been given.